All right, so we've stopped by one of the more impressive booths here at PAX East this year to learn a little bit more about Wildstar, and this is the year of the Wildstar, as you famously pronounced on the blog. Can you tell us a little bit about just what are people experiencing here on the show floor?
Well, what we wanted to do is we wanted to bring to PAX some Dominion content to play. We originally were bringing the Exile content around, had people play it at certain cons and whatnot. This time we brought up the Dominion content. It's a level 6 to 14 zone, and it gives you a good initial play of all the different kind of systems that we have in our game.
I think one of the more interesting things, and we will touch on Dominion later, but one of the more interesting things that strikes me about Wildstar is the fact that you tailor the content to the class you're playing as, which is a very interesting way of doing things. And can you tell us a little bit about the reasoning for that?
Yeah, we have classes. You know, we do a lot of things in this MMO that are familiar, right? We didn't want to try to reinvent the wheel. People understand what a class is, so we have classes, but we added a layer on top of that, which we call a path. You can be a spell slinger, which is kind of a run and gun, shoot 'em up cowboy kind of character, but that's your class. But you could be a soldier or a scientist, a settler, or an explorer, and it gives you more of the kind of content that you want. When we came out in Gamescom in 2011, it was in its infancy, and a soldier did holdouts predominantly, an explorer did jump puzzles, and it was just it was kind of just to get a feel for it. And players gave us feedback saying, "Hey, I want to do all those things. They're all super cool." So we took it back a step and we found all of that great content and spread it throughout the game for all classes and paths to play. So you'll find class or quest holdouts and quest jump puzzles and quest science and quest just all building stuff. So people get all of that through the questing, but we still wanted to give players more of that when they choose a path. If you choose a soldier, you will kill more stuff. It's just the nature of the soldier path. And then since then, we've been able to add, dozens of missions to all the different paths to make it more of a keynote feature in the game.
Because that was my sort of initial reaction. It's like, but what if a player doesn't exactly know what kind of content he wants to experience from the get-go? How do you deal with that?
Well, there's a lot of debate on that back at the studio, but the plan currently is not to let you respec. It's just like your class. We hope through the tutorial and in the front end UI of the game, we can pretty much give you a drilled down explanation of what you're choosing to do and examples, maybe even video of the things as that's Explorer, that's not for me. I'm a soldier, I like to kill stuff, and give you the idea of these are the kind of missions you'll get, and hopefully you'll know pretty quickly, if you pick a class and you don't like it, you could quickly realize that and you go and re-roll. We're hoping that's the way we'll do it, but nothing's off the table as far as that's concerned right now.
All right, so let's return to the Dominion and talk a little bit about it. Can you lay the land? What are the Dominion?
The Dominion are this kind of, it's like a star-spanning empire that feels like they've come to the planet Nexus, the ancient Eldan homeworld, because they feel that it's their birthright. The exiles have come here to escape the Dominion and try to set up like a new homeworld because the Dominion have been kind of running them off their planet. But there's a lot of gray here. It's not the Dominion are bad, it's just that they have a different view of the way things are. One of the other things that we brought here so everybody can take a look is housing. We intend to have player housing in at launch. The system's been worked on the entire time I've worked there for about 3 years. So this is one of the core systems of the game, and it is tied into all the quests, all the content, the paths, the PvP, the PvE. It's tied into everything. You can freeform build anything you want in your house. You can make things. We give you all the tools that devs use, so you can make things bigger, shrink them, color them. It's a pretty amazing system, and we're very proud of it. So we want to come out here and show a little bit of the thing. As a matter of fact, it's playing in the background right now.
Right. So I think housing is something that MMOs kind of quickly use to put on we'll do that later list. It's something that players really wanted, but it's kind of hard to implement it. But what does it add to the game to be able to have that from launch and sort of integrate it into everything else?
What you can do is not only can you decorate the inside of your house however you want, but you can decorate the outside. We have these things called sockets and plugs where you can actually change the landscape that has collision, and they have entire meta achievements tied to building certain things. There's mini games, there's We have challenges that challenge you to do a thing. You can invite your friends over and do these great challenges on all these plugs that you put in. It's very social. We have an entire social systems team that is dedicated to producing social systems, things that'll tie the players together. You can go to your friend's housing plot because they're out of town, and you can farm their farmland so that you can help, so they don't lose their crops, and you get a percentage of that back because you help them. If you want to mine, you can buy or build a mine on your plot of land, so you can go down in it. You can build raid portals. You can find underground instances that start on your land, and you might have to, there's a 10-man instance underneath your plot that you bought. You got to go find 10 people to come back to your house and go in there and kill the boss for a big reward. And it ties into, it's a really deep system. You don't just get it for free. You go to your housing plot first off, you clear the land, you kill the monsters that inhabit it, you start off with a tent, then you upgrade to a starter house, then a bigger house, then a bigger house. And then you don't just get that stuff, and it's not just money, you gotta go out in the game world and find the things you need to combine to build the stuff, to build the house, and to build all the pieces. One of our crafts is tied into almost every aspect of it, so you can find things in crafting, you can find things from quests, paths, challenges. It's just, again, it's tied into everything, and it's always a great thing. We had a lot of people come out here today saying, hey, I raid. And I play for about 2 days a week, but I want to do more in the game, and housing seems to be that thing for me. You can go out throughout the world, comb the place. If you kill certain monsters, they have a chance to drop their head. You can mount it on the wall. If you get a lot of these things and fill up your house, you get a greater magnitude of rest XP, which is very important if anybody knows MMOs. But it's just something we're super proud of, and I'm hoping we let people get hands-on pretty soon.
So in terms of like regulating things, how many plots, how many places in the world will you be able to sort of build your own house, and how do you sort of make sure that it doesn't sort of disrupt the game world?
Well, what we wanted to do was make sure we concentrated on solo player housing, so it's instance, okay? And there's a pretty funny story behind how it is instance. Protostar, which is kind of our used car salesman of the world, they sell you this lemon of a plot of land, and they tore it out of the ground and threw it up in the sky on these jets so they could make more land. It serves a purpose for us, but there's some other gameplay that comes later on that I can't get into that makes it very interesting. But we wanted to concentrate on the solo instance gameplay. You can invite your friends over, they can give them permissions, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can have your guild hang out there, everybody can use your crafting equipment that gives you bonuses to crafting. It's, again, like I said, it's a very social system, but since it's instance, it allows us to do a lot more with not complicating the overworld.
Right, so in terms of the rollout, what's next, and sort of how does the schedule look ahead?
Well, the schedule's tight. We're looking at 2013 to launch. We're coming to these things. We're going into beta very, very soon. We have a beta candidate we're just testing so we can get it ready for the players to play and give us feedback. We're a company that thrives on feedback. We iterate a lot. We've iterated a ton since Gamescom on all of those key features. We like to say that we don't know. I can't sit here and say I know everything. If I did, I'd be a fool. There's a lot of people that play games out there that got a lot of great ideas and a lot of good feedback, and we're looking for that feedback. We're trying to make a game that people will want to spend a long, long time playing. And even to that end, I'm hoping the next step for us is to get a little bit more information out about the Elder game. We don't even call it the end game because we don't expect, that seems like a defeatist statement for an MMO. And then again, the feedback has been overwhelming from this show, where people are like, what if I don't want to raid? Or what if I want to do other things than raid, but that is the end game? Well, we're doing 40-man raids. That is a thing people want. And I overwhelmingly say they want it, and they want it to be special. It's very hard, and it's for the skilled player. And we want that to be a thing. It's not for everybody. We have warplots, which is a 40-man versus 40-man, 2 flying fortresses that we use our housing tech to build, and then each side destroys each other's stuff in this crazy battleground that they build and control that gives you special abilities. And that's also tied into the game, so you can find things in the world to bring back and plug into your housing plot. Those things cost points, so you're matched up against equal people. You can challenge other enemy war guilds, and that doesn't have anything to do with your guild. You still can have a guild, but the war guild is a separate thing altogether, but it works almost the same way. But it's just, those are things we're doing. For the solo player, we have solo PvE instances, story instances that tell the story of what happened. We don't even start telling you the story of what happened to the Eldan until you hit cap. You can't do warplots till cap. You don't do 40-man raids till cap. Like, this is all content. We have a monthly rollout prepared for the next 18 months, planned all out on my whiteboard back at work, that are like dungeon, raid, new PvP arena content. We have a whole zone that, you know, and this is stuff we had to make sure we planned out ahead of time. It's tough. I mean, we have a lot of really good devs doing a lot of really good work, artists, coders trying to get everything we need done to get this thing for 2013. And we're, you know, I just want people to realize that I love the leveling game. I want you to have a good time in it, but for us, it's really a concentration on the Elder game that are going to keep people interested in playing the game.
So have you settled or communicated a business model as of yet?
Well, let's just say that that is above my pay grade. There's been discussions across the board. We don't want to do anything. The one thing I can say about it is I think no matter what the choice is, it's about value. You can't ever just hold stuff back out of a game and say, well, now I'm going to sell you some other stuff. You have to produce value, which is why we're looking at these monthly updates, right? We want, no matter which way we go, we want to make sure that there's value to the game. And if we ever do microtransactions, that can't, you know, if you go into the game, you'll be able to do all the stuff in the game. The microtransactions is just kind of a secondary, hey, I don't have any advantage over you. We would never do that. But that's more about philosophy, but I wish I had more to say about that.
Nobody touch anything.